Welcome, welcome.
Yay.
Okay, I'll just continue to let people in as they come. So welcome, everyone. My name is Lynn Laborde, and here's Nina. And this is Alicia Munian. And together we are here to talk about the Akashic Records. This is absolutely one of my favorite subjects. And it is something that I have studied. It is something that I have mastered. It is something that I love teaching. It is something that I love sharing. And it's something that I had an opportunity to teach Alicia, and she has become one of the most prolific of all the people that I've ever trained to read the records. So you're going to get to hear it from a couple different points of view today. So we're very excited for that. And this is a free masterclass. One of the things we're going to be talking about is something that we have co-created that is called the Akashic Records Immersion, which is going to be a program that's going to give you an opportunity to learn how to read the records, how to do healing within the records, and how to do it not only for yourself, but also for other people. Okay. Unlocking secrets of the Akashic Records. So for me, my journey with the Akashic Records began when I was about 11 years old. My mom gave me a copy of a book that was called The Sleeping Prophet about Edgar Cayce, who was the most prolific and profound reader of the records. He would go deeply into a trance. And I remember at 11 years old when I read that book, and I was like, oh my God, the Akashic Records, like they felt familiar to me. Like I knew or I understood them. And the whole subject of past lives was fascinating for me. And that was really what the Akashic Records were. It's this entire repertoire. It's literally like the spiritual iCloud of every thought you've ever had, every word you've ever spoken, every action you've ever taken, and everyone around you, everything that you've ever experienced through all lifetimes, times, dimensions, spaces, universes, galaxies, planets, stars, all of it. It's absolutely fascinating. And what happens is, if there's something that we didn't deal with in a particular lifetime, it stays with us as unresolved business. And then we carry that forward into another incarnation. And that's all gets stored inside of the Akashic Records. And then we have an opportunity when we have access to the records, to actually go in, find out what it is that we still have unfinished business with, and complete that information. So Alicia, I'm going to invite you to walk us through this incredible presentation that you've put together. And again, thank you. These graphics are absolutely gorgeous.
Of course, yeah. So exactly what Lynn was saying, the concept with the Akashic Records is that if we have something unhealed within our lineage, that it's going to represent itself in different ways through this lifetime. So we can have different past life karmas. We can have things that happened in the past that are now playing out for us to resolve. You know that quote, like if you don't solve what the universe gave you, it's going to send it to you like 2 times again. So we're going through this cycle consistently of learning our lessons, of diving into healing ourselves so that we can stop this cycle. And this is the exact code for the Akashic Records. It's essentially the blueprint of our soul, and understanding that the things, the tribulations that we face today are in some way coded into the universe so we can heal and grow our soul to become this more deeply aligned and expressed version of ourselves. And it's not until we actually dive in that we really can understand how these patterns exist. And it even goes back into our lineages as well.
There's physical DNA, but there's also soul DNA. So we've made soul contracts. I love these images. We've made soul contracts with our guides. They're the masters, the teachers, and the loved ones. And they said, okay, what is it that you want to experience in this lifetime? And you open up your book and you say, well, I have all these unresolved issues. And they say, well, that's a lot for one lifetime. Why don't we stick with 3? And you come in with a primary, a secondary, and a tertiary, a third lesson that you're going to handle. And you're given people that have mastered these to help guide you within each lifetime. And you'll be working on all of them. It may be relationship issues, it may be financial issues, it may be emotional issues, it may be physical issues. Just depends on what it is that you have chosen to experience in any incarnation. And you're going to be given people along the way that you have, quote unquote, hired to help you with this. So if you want to handle relationships, you may have parents that don't dote on you, don't love you unconditionally, in fact, could be somewhat abusive with you, so that you can learn some of the deepest lessons of forgiveness. If it's financial that you want to handle, you may have an incredibly wealthy lifetime and then lose everything. Or you may have a really poor lifetime and then you gain everything. It just depends on how it is that you have chosen through your soul contracts to experience existence.
Yes. And it's just so interesting how this works, because sometimes when we experience like all of these dark things and these difficult moments, and we're like, why would the universe send this to us? But it's until we really step into that deep level of healing that we can truly begin to understand and let go of this concept of being the victim, because it's that exact victim mindset that keeps us trapped in that cycle. But once we step into the awareness, and this is the important part of the healing, right? Because the Akashic records and being able to access this information gives us that awareness to know I'm being presented with this energy. I'm being presented with the same theme for a reason, and this is how I can heal it, you know? So I've had actually some really profound healings with the records with Lynn. And Lynn was my teacher that taught me how to step in to accessing this information through the records. But basically, one of the most profound healings that I ever saw was I basically saw this energy that I had with my mother, this pattern. And I didn't grow up with the best situation with my mother, you know, like I went through different abusive situations with her where she physically hurt me. And there was just like a lot of animosity involved in our relationship. And I was at this point where I was so ready to surrender and so ready to heal and so ready to understand, even after going through this abuse. And I went to Lynn and I was just like, I don't know how my mother could do this to me, and like blah blah blah. And she's like, okay, hold on, calm down. Let's go in and see what this is, because at the core of everything there's lessons and there's love. That's the core of everything.
It is.
So but
You two have developed an extraordinary relationship.
yes, she's actually coming to Egypt with us.
Alicia and I are leading a retreat and taking a bunch of people to Egypt to go investigate our own Akashic records over there and see what's in store for us. Whenever you're drawn to go to a place, understand that there's some part of you that's been there before, and you're going back to recover aspects of you that you left behind.
Yes, I love that. I felt that so deeply too when I came to Costa Rica. I was just like, this is part of like my soul blueprint, you know?
You'll
So
know, it'll resonate so strongly with you.
yeah. So when I dove into this healing with Lynn, it was so powerful because actually I got this vision of myself being the mother in the relationship and my mom being the daughter in a past life. And I basically walked through this library with Lynn, like through this deep form of meditation. And I was able to see, like literally in the book, at one point you were the abuser and now you're the abused. And it was something that just struck such a deep chord with me and resonated with me so deeply. It was like about understanding my mom's soul, and it was about understanding her patterns and what she had to go through. And even then, I was also brought back to this lifetime and to this lineage, understanding what my mom went through more directly with her own parents. And it was just this huge connection that happened where I realized that my mom is also a victim. And for me to step into that awareness, there was this ultimate sense of forgiveness and this ultimate sense of love. And that's really what the core of the Akashic records is about. It's about understanding these situations where you felt like you were put in this terrible situation where you don't understand what happened to you, or like you might be holding this animosity, but the Akashic records gives you this knowledge and information about current situations, current events that are happening. It gives you access to past information, and it gives you access to potential futures. So the Akashic records are said to be, it's basically like a dimensional library of information that contains every thought, emotion, and action that has ever occurred in the universe and can ever occur in the universe. So it's believed to be like an astral plane. And you know how everyone kind of talks about, if you're in the spiritual community, they'll say, all right, the universal consciousness of information, like this is where like all this information is like tapped into, like there's that one consciousness, right? So essentially, that one consciousness is the Akashic records. It's the field of information and knowledge that we all have access to. Like sometimes we naturally tap into the Akashic records when we're giving other people psychic readings, when you just receive a zap of intuition like that, like you can naturally be tapping in, but there are more direct ways to gain access to the records when you're using them intentionally.
There is a prayer that I was taught. So my story was, I'd read about the Akashic records when I was 11 years old, and I was just fascinated with everything to do with past lives. But my understanding was you had to go to India to get your Akashic records read. Like it just wasn't something that was commonplace. And then in 2017, a girlfriend of mine named Tiffany posts on Facebook, and she's like, hey, I just got trained to read the Akashic records and I'm looking for people to do readings. And I was like, oh my God. And I text her and I was like, Tiffany, oh my God, can you please do a reading for me? And she goes, yeah, sure. And she said, I've got this prayer. Part of it you say aloud, part of it you say silently. And I'm like, how did you get trained? She said, there's a woman named Linda Howe who wrote the quintessential, the ultimate book on how to read the records. It's literally called How to Read the Akashic Records, a beautiful orange book. And she's written two other books. The blue book is the one that's called Healing with the Akashic Records. And then she's written another one that's called Your Soul Purpose in the Akashic Records. So Tiffany did a reading for me. It blew my mind. I started having all my friends, get access to her as well. And I said, I want to get trained to read the records. So I went and I found Linda Howe online, Howe. And this was late in 2017. And then I saw that Linda Howe was going to be offering a 3-month training that was going to happen in February, March, and April of 2018. So I signed up for this. It was, what I thought was unbelievably expensive at the time. I think it was like $850, but it was going to be meeting with her twice a week for 12 weeks. It's going to be really, really intense. And there were 48 of us around the world that signed up for this thing. And the very first time when I learned the prayer and I opened up the Akashic records, there were these beings and they were jumping up and down and they were screaming at me, halls of Amenti, halls of Amenti, halls of Amenti. And I got terrified out of my mind. And I closed the records really quickly. There's a prayer that you say to open them, and then there's a prayer that you say to close them. And I closed the records and I went to Linda and I said, what was that? And she said, they're just really excited to see you. Ask them, what are the Akashic records? And I went back and they said, you were one of the people that was a guardian of the records when you were in Atlantis. And the Akashic records, the halls of Amenti, were the home of the Akashic records in Atlantis. And it got moved to Egypt. And it's somewhere around the pyramids and where the Sphinx is and all that. And Edgar Casey came up with some of the same information. So it was really fascinating. But it just, it opened me up. And I felt like I had a responsibility. So they said, you're supposed to teach others how to read the records. So I do that by teaching people Linda Howe's prayers. And it's all public information. And also a lot of things that I've learned along the way, having done readings for thousands of people and having taught hundreds and hundreds of people how to read the records.
Yay.
Lisa, you still with us?
Yes, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was so powerful. It's just so incredible. Like when you open your soul to these experiences, like how many things can come up, and we all experience like the spirit and psychic realms through different modalities. And it's just so beautiful to see, like, when you open up to these things, how readily able and accessible it is, you know? If you take like a moment to think about the most psychic person that you know that you have that same access as they do. This is the thing about opening and awakening your gifts. It's about learning that that doorway into the spiritual world is available to everyone. And sometimes you just need to practice, you just need to develop your skills, you need to learn the different methods. And then through that, you're able to also open up the doorway to offering your services to other people as well. So a huge part of this as well. How many people have you given Akashic record readings to now, Lynn, since that moment?
Over, I mean, over 1,000, well over 1,000.
Wow,
And I've
that's
taught hundreds,
amazing.
hundreds and hundreds to read. People will come up to me and they're like, see, when you read the Akashic records, you read it in several ways. If you have clairvoyance, you can see inside of the records. If you have clairvoyance, you hear inside of the records. If you have clairsentience, you'll get a feeling of what's going on in the records. And if you have claircognizance, you'll just know information. And then there are people like myself who are actually channels, oracles. And what happens is when we go into the Akashic records, it's one of your masters, teachers, or loved ones that come through. So I'm actually Lynn, me and my personality are not present. I kind of get scooped out of the body. And then one of your guides comes in and has a conversation with you. So every time I read, it's a different intonation for me. And when I teach people, one of the things that we do is we help you to open up your psychic abilities. We help you to open up your clairs, as I just mentioned, so that you can have the greatest experience of being able to do readings for yourself and other people. Then there's a whole other level where we teach you actually how to go in and do healing work within the records. It's really, really comprehensive. It's something that I've studied. I've been in the Akashic records actually since 1989. I didn't realize that that's what it was until I actually came across the prayer and realized. But I have done this work for over 33, almost 34 years now. And it's my greatest pleasure. I had an incredible session with a woman yesterday who had a very torturous relationship with her father. And we looked at the lifetime that she has with her father this lifetime. Her mother had tried to commit suicide. The father was furious. The father and mother had sex. The mother got pregnant. The mother decided to have the baby and then was going to give the baby up. But after she delivered the baby, she decided to keep the baby. And then the father had to marry her. And the father was he was mad about that. And at one point they told my client. So her whole life, she had just felt so shunned by him and shamed by him. So we looked at a past lifetime. We went into her Akashic records and we found out that there was a lifetime. Her mother tried to commit suicide, but she wasn't successful. But there was a lifetime where she was married to her father. This was in the 1800s. They had a child. Her mother was her daughter, but she did commit suicide. And then she has a younger sister in this lifetime whom the father adores. And when she had killed herself as the wife in that other incarnation, the woman that the father ended up marrying after she had died, and the one who helped to raise her then daughter, was her sister. And then we went to another lifetime where she was the abusive husband and her father was the mother. So everybody switches roles. It's like a shell game. Everybody takes on these different roles. But as soon as she saw that she had been the one who had been abusive when she was the husband, and then everybody switches out. So now her brother is her son, and her mother becomes the daughter, and the sister becomes the new mom. All of this is orchestrated by us. All of this is created. All of this is designed by us in accordance with our higher selves, with our souls. And then we're just directed to do healing on it within each incarnation. And that's the information that comes forth in the Akashic records. And it's just absolutely stunning that you can put your hands, it's almost as if we drive through life with our hands on the rearview mirror, wondering why we keep having accidents. When you take your hands off of the rearview mirror and you put them on the steering wheel of your life, you take full responsibility for everything that's happened in your life, that you have been the one that has written the story, chosen the actors, directed it, produced it, and it's your life. And you know that you can do something about it. It changes the very fabric of your existence forever. And that's what having access to the Akashic records actually does for you.
That's so powerful that you said it that way, because it's that exact empowerment of deciding and realizing that you are the one that set up this entire thing for yourself. And that awareness and acknowledgement is what gives you the power to create the life of your dreams. Then you can start asking yourself, why did I give myself this pain? Which is actually the medicine, that will create the life for you.
Yeah.
It's like you leave yourself like little breadcrumb trails amongst your traumas, amongst your different
Exactly.
situations throughout life. And it's like through doing these healings, like even things like where it like I have this one client who had a child very early in her life, and she was like telling me like, I wish that this didn't happen, and it completely messed up my life. And I was like, but what have you learned from this situation? How have you empowered yourself, and how can you help other people? And then she sat there for a moment and she's like, wow, I never like placed myself into that perspective. And it's like when you start to shift your relationship about what happened to you, instead of just looking at yourself as the victim, it's like, how can my situation empower me to heal myself and heal other people and step into my power? That's where the true power lies.
Exactly. When you can take radical self-responsibility, and the Akashic records teach you how to do that, when you can go, oh my God, I'm the one that designed this entire thing, you have such power over your life. Think of a relationship that you have that causes you pain that you've always wished or wanted to not be that way. Somebody that you love, a parent, a spouse, children, people that are estranged from you, you can find out why it is that way, and you can find out how to heal it. That's the power of the Akashic records. That's available to each and every one of us. Something drew you here today, and it wasn't just Alicia and I and our dazzling personalities. Some part, although that might be part of it, I'll accept that. But there is some part of your soul that said you need to hear this information. And whether you act on this today or you act on it in the future, just know that there is a resource that's available for you to help you.
Yes. So one of the things with the Akashic records, it's like derived from this idea that everything in the universe is interconnected. So exactly what we were speaking about, it's like the ripples of energy that are created from these different situations, from these different interactions that we're dealing with. This is coded into the universe. So when we decide to heal ourselves, we're also sending out ripples of healing energy, positivity, gratitude into the universe. And this is how manifestation truly works. When we send out ripples of healing into the world, it sends this energy into the universe that will then bounce back to you.
So I was just asked a question by a person, Sheena. Sheena, it's fine. Everybody always has problems with Zoom. Is it possible to see into the future? Yes. So Teal Swan does these two beautiful Akashic record videos, part 1 and part 2. And she talks about what happens when you go to each of the different dimensions. And she talks about that when you get to the 7th dimension, you see all possibilities. It's the choice where you made to stay in a relationship, or a choice where you made to break up, or you took this job, or you didn't take this job, or you moved to this place, or you didn't move this place, or you chose to be born, or you chose not to be born. And you see every single possibility. What happens is when you look into the future, and you absolutely can look into the future, you'll see all the possibilities that are available for you. And as soon as you've considered it as a possibility, the universe has manifested it somewhere. And what you come to take responsibility for are the places where you've said, no, I don't want that, or no, I'm not ready for that yet. But the universe literally gives you everything you ask for. In fact, there's a book club that I'm going to be doing this year. It's called Ask and It Is Given. And it's the work of Abraham Hicks. It's absolutely stunning. 22 lessons and 22 practices. But whatever it is that you desire, see, we are given the desire by our spirit. And as soon as we create a desire, we then create an intention for that thing to manifest. We make a decision in our mind saying, this is what I'm going to create. And then we go into the emotional realm. And in the emotional realm, emotions is energy in motion. we begin to manifest it, and then physically we end up with the result of that. It's a paradigm matrix for manifestation. So if you want to see what you have in your life, you must understand that somewhere you have desired to experience that thing. And people are going to say, I didn't want to experience this. I didn't want to experience that. And, the good news and the bad news is, yes, you did. That may be the bad news, but the good news is you can find out why so that you don't ever have to repeat that again. And that's the power of the Akashic Records.
Yes, that was such a beautiful way of framing that, because it's like once you realize that you've created this situation on some level, it's like, okay, why did I create this for myself? What can I learn? How can I grow from this? So we learn about our past lives, our soul's journey, and how we can best serve our purpose in this lifetime through what we've learned and how we've grown our soul and developed.
I'm writing a book that I call Promises to God, because literally we have volunteered for everything that we're experiencing. And people don't want to hear that. They're like, I couldn't have volunteered for this. There's no way I chose my mom, my dad, or my circumstance. There's no way I chose that husband or these kids. And the answer is, yes, you did. And you just have to find out why. And when you can take responsibility for that, oh my God, you completely change the course of your life forever. It's extraordinarily empowering.
Yes. And this could be applied to everything in our life, our business, our finances, relationships, everything that we experience in this life. If you guys have any questions, by the way, feel free to either pop it in the chat, or if you want to speak, you can just do the little hand raise thing, and we would love a little conversation too.
Yes, the class does come with a certificate. So when you learn to read the records, you'll get a certificate that says you are an Akashic record reader. And when you've done 50 readings, you become an advanced Akashic record reader. And then when you've done the healing class, after you've done 25 healings, you become an advanced Akashic record healer. And those are provided by Soma Life University. That's my business. Actually, Soul Master University now.
Yes. Rebrand.
Soma Life University. We just rebranded.
This was part of the Akashic Records for Soma Life too. Like, we had to go through so much to get to this next level of that.
Yeah, it's really incredible. So yes, there is a certificate that comes with it.
Yes. Okay, Jeff's raising his hand.
Okay. Hey, Jeff, did you want to come talk to us?
Yeah. First and foremost, thank you for this so far.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm just wanted so basically, because I was kind of thinking about this, because maybe this is a type of a session I might want to do in the future, because it might help me, hopefully move on and understand where I am right now.
Yeah.
This is it an intense, is it one session or 2 sessions? Is it
so this is what I tell people, and here's the God's honest truth. What you can do in a single session is like a year of therapy. And I'm not saying that we're going to heal your entire life in one session. I usually start people out with 5 if they really want to do this work. Back in the day when I was first doing this, I would tell people that they needed to spend at least 25 hours with me, 25 sessions to do their work. But over the years, I've learned to kind of pare that down. But you could certainly, there's different versions. You can go in and just do a purely informational session. That's about a half an hour. But if you want to go in and you're willing and you're ready and you're able, and there's some guidelines that I have, you can't have any alcohol or drugs for 24 hours. You have to be, like Frosty, you have to be ready to do this work. If you're emotionally ready to tackle this, you can knock some really major stuff out in, 3, 4, or 5 sessions.
Okay. But it's intense. It's
could you imagine?
it's all up to your soul. It's all
okay.
up to your soul.
We're going to go in. Listen, Archangel Metatron is one of my spirit guides, and he goes, you're helping people deal with the demons that they have chained in their basements. And that's really what this is. We're going to look, I'm a light worker, and I have worked my butt off to be the woman that I am today. I have 29 certificates. I've been doing this for over 33 years. I'm 61 years old, and this is my field of mastery. So are we going to come up with some of your darkest stuff? Absolutely. Are you going to get through to the other side? Absolutely. That is my mastery. There,
Yes.
I have a woman, I just want to read to you this thing that this woman wrote. We did this incredible, the one I was telling you that we wrote the session with. He says, Lynn, thank you for channeling the love of Jesus and helping me to heal spiritually, mentally, and physically. Lynn teaches others that the physical body manifests what is not resolved emotionally, energetically, and most importantly, spiritually. When you connect to Lynn on the soul level, magical things happen. I carried a 60-year-old wound that was also established through many lifetimes ago. The power of a healing session with Lynn and my connection with her is indescribable. Walking through my past life experiences helped me to understand and heal the dynamics of deep wounds. These unresolved wounds create physical, emotional, and mental problems. One session later, and the transformation was undeniable. So she's been a student of mine for a while, and we did an 1.5-hour session, and we went in and we kicked its ass. And she says she's an incredible teacher, mentor, healer, and she's also very proud to call me her friend, which I love. Someone was saying, can you be friends with your clients? And my answer is absolutely. How do you not do this work at this deeper level and keep your heart light? This is just a professional relationship. But Jeff, in answer to your question, it is really intense work. But if you have the tenacity and if you have the courage to say, I can handle this, I say welcome. And I also have 60 students that I work with. I have about 6 of them that are doing this work. So if the work that I do might be a little too intimidating or too intense for you, I have a lot of people that I can have you work with as well. Alicia is one of the best I've ever worked with, and she's gone on and done so much more work beyond that. So there's actually a couple people that you could interview, to decide to work with. But if you want to come to the OG, who's going to get you through it, no matter what it takes, I'm your girl.
She's gonna dig it up for you.
But you know what else? Here's what I love that Alicia and I are doing. I don't want to just feed you fish. And if I'm going to feed you fish, sushi, because I'm that kind of girl. But I want people to learn these tools. Every tool that I use, I teach other people. Because I want to teach a man to fish. I don't want to just give a man to fish. And by the way, because I'm an oracle, I channel. So I channel Jesus. I always used to say, I used to work at financial planning, and it was kind of like you would use life insurance as an investment. And people would go, what do you do for a living? And I'd say, oh, I sell insurance. And it would clear a room. And I say, now, if you want to clear a room, all you do is tell someone that you channel Jesus. So, there's huge spiritual assistance that comes with this. I'm talking to your masters and teachers and loved ones. I'm talking to your lords of the records. I'm talking to your spirit guides. I'm talking to your higher self, and I'm helping you learn how to do that. So more than just doing the work, if any of you have a calling to be a healer and feel like this is what you want to do, you should definitely consider, talking to us more about what we have that's coming up.
Yes.
Thank you for your question.
That was beautiful. Yeah, and that's actually a perfect segue for like the rest, because what we really want to gear down to is that we're not just doing these 1-hour healings with you guys. We're not just like, okay, like this is we're diving in for you. Like, we want to teach you guys how to access the records yourself. And there's several different methods that you can use to access the records. So essentially, Lynn and I are going to be walking people through this intense immersion. And there's like a few different options available, but basically we're going to be helping people to develop their psychic and intuitive abilities. We're going to be helping people to step into their power in different ways and learn how they can access the records themselves for them and your clients, because so many people here are also beautiful spiritual entrepreneurs that are also, providing this healing work. And there's nothing more powerful than learning this technique for your clients. And I've used it on over 200 people. Liz, I see you have your hand raised, Queen. Hey, Queen.
Liz, come on.
Liz was in Melissa's mastermind with me.
Oh, hey, Liz. Great to meet you, love.
Hi, thank you so much for this space. And
you're welcome.
The Akashic record, it's something that I'm always like, I know nothing about. I'm like, I don't understand it. Like I hear people talking about it, and even like this whole concept of like different lifetimes and stuff like that. Like, I feel like these are things that, like, how do you put it? Like, I haven't been able to make sense of for myself.
Right.
But just as you were sharing, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like what is my question? And I don't even know if there's an answer, but like, why, like, even like as I think about my spiritual awakening, like, you know, and like I'm a sound healer, I'm a yoga teacher, so I'm like into like all these spiritual tools. But for a while, I used to like kind of be mad that I felt like I awakened because I'm just like, I didn't choose this, you know. I'm like, I don't want to do this work, you know, like I don't like this is ghetto. And so like as you were saying, like we choose this or it's like this and that. And I'm like, I just don't understand. Like, why are we here to heal? Like, I mean, I guess we don't have to heal, right? But it's just like
We don't.
sounds like a game, and I don't understand why the game is set up this way. Like,
Listen, you hit the nail on the head. The word is, the key word to all of this is a game. It's literally a game. Source said, I want to experience everything. I want to experience light, and therefore I want to experience shadow. And the best way to do that is through a games matrix. And that's exactly what we're playing out. There's one of my best students, her name is Jill. Jill and I just got in a tangle about something. And there was a point where she reached out to me and she goes, listen, I went to our round table and we were just cracking up with each other. And I said, Jill, like, you know, there's never anything that can't be resolved but through communication. Like love is a function of communication. So you're going to find out, you're going to get in touch with your masters, your teachers, and your loved ones. You're going to get in touch with your higher self and be like, dude, what game am I playing and how can I win at it? You're going to find out what the rules of the game are for you. And, you know, we go, God, there's no way I would have set it up this way. There's no way I would have chosen to experience that. But the truth is, the single most empowering thing you can do is take radical self-responsibility and say, you know what? I did choose this. Let me find out why. Let me find out how I can turn this ship around, you know? I also think another thing that would be really important for you is, I've done 2 different yoga teacher trainings. I did a 200-hour in 2005, another one in 2011. There's something in your soul that calls to you from incarnations that you've had in India and in Tibet. Hinduism is something that's really strong in your Akashic records. I'm actually in your records right now. And there's ways that you signed a contract to come in and do this work. And there was part of you that was like, I'm going to come in, but not let myself fully remember. But then there's a point where I am going to fully remember, but the jig will be up. And once the jig is up, it's like trying to play checkers or chess with yourself. Like if you know both sides of the board, it's not as much fun as if you forget that you're the opponent. So all of that is sitting, waiting for you. It's literally waiting for you to open the door and say, okay, I'm all in. And it is a game. I couldn't have said it better.
oh, thank you for sharing that. And it's so wild because, and Jen put that in the chat, but like, so I've had an astrocartography reading and like my Venus line runs through India and like,
Wow. Oh, I just got goosebumps. Oh, I just got goosebumps. Of course it does. Why am I not surprised?
It's like, and whenever I have these moments where I'm like, I just want to escape everything. Like I have this vision. I'm like, I'm just gonna like escape society. Like I'm just gonna like go to India and just study and learn. But like my logical brain keeps telling me like one day or like not now, or like, you know, I'm running my business.
Well, here's the good news. You have studied extensively in India. And actually what you're meant to do is to go into the records, to remember what it is that you've already mastered and to bring that to the world.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, this is so wild. Alicia, you did one post and now I'm here and I'm like, what the hell?
That's so wild.
Listen, I'm telling you, your spirit, like last night, our spirits were all talking to each other and we're like, we're going to meet together. It's going to look like we're on Zoom. Yeah, like it's the first time, like we don't really know each other. Okay, everybody, act as if we don't know each other. And we're like, hi, nice to meet you. But the 740.
By the way, I've known you for lifetimes.
Exactly.
Oh
She doesn't believe you.
Wow.
Tell her, wait, she doesn't believe you. Tell her why she's supposed to do this. I'm not doing anything to make any sales. Guys, I'm not here for sales. Believe me, I do really, really well. I am here to share my heart with you. No sales are necessary. If it's your thing, you're going to come. If it's not your thing, you're not. No sales need to happen here, I promise you.
That's the thing with the power and potency of this work. It's like spirit is just so ready to support you in so many different ways. It's like you just open the gateway, you get the vision, and you just know that you just need to come through as strongly as the messages you're receiving. You know, you just channel through whatever comes and the people will come. Like, it's so funny because literally today Lynn was like, I don't think we have anyone signed up. I was like, Lynn, they're coming. Lynn, they're coming.
I just had a big change in staff, and I'm like, all the places I used to go, it looked like there were 3 people signed up. Alicia's like, oh my God, Lynn, there's like 21 people signed up. So thank you all for being here. Listen, the work I do is not inexpensive, but it's worth every penny. And that's why I say I have students who I've trained who are also extraordinary, who charge a lot less than I do. But if you want to come and work with me, you know, it's time to put your big girl and your big boy panties on, because you're going to work and you're going to learn and you're going to grow, and it'll be uncomfortable and it'll be the best thing you've ever done. I'm a New Yorker, by the way. So I am of the school of tough love. And, you know, I also, like, in human design, I'm a 6-3 generator. So I'm all about having fun. And I love what I do. Alicia and I laugh like no one's ever laughed. We've been at this for 5 years, this lifetime, and we've never had a crossword between us. You know, it's just been love and fun and play. We're taking people to Egypt. We're taking people to Costa Rica. We're taking people to Sedona. We're taking people to Hawaii. We're taking people to Tulum. We're taking people to Europe. I mean, there's so much fun that we're having. And when we go, we're going to do past life work. We're going to find out, why are we here? What are we here for? What do we have to recover? You know, what's our soul purpose? And if you're ready to walk through that door, I invite you.
One thing that I'll say too about like what Lynn and I do now is that we had to go through such depth of healing ourselves to be able to hold this space, you know? And this is really like the core calling of this sort of work.
Yeah.
It's this soul desire
Yeah.
to help others to heal and step into their power from often you going through that same level of deep trauma, generational trauma, things that you never thought you could heal from, to be able to step into the other side of that and present yourself through this work and through this expression. Like, that's what the depth of this work really is about. It's about you understanding your power through your own traumas, and also exactly what like Lynn was saying to Liz, it's about stepping in and being like, okay, like, the calling's there. You don't have to answer it, but if you want to, the universe has a whole path for you. You're going to be going around the world. You're going to be stepping in. You're going to be holding space for others. Yeah. It's so crazy because like with this work, like the clients that I've had come to me is just like so powerful, the healings that I've experienced with these people. Like, I've had a 9/11 survivor come to me for an Akashic Records reading. I've had people who've dealt with childhood abuse. I've had cancer survivors. I've had people who were abusers themselves. I've had so many different expressions of people, and I feel like this work has also truly helped me to understand humanity and understand the cycles of life in a deeper way. And this is also that profound level, like, you're not just sitting at a desk job like crunching numbers, like you're diving into people's souls. And if this is like what your soul is called to do, there's no denial from that fire that's like ignited just from being present in this conversation, you know?
Carolyn Mace, who's extraordinary, she wrote The Anatomy of the Spirit. She talks about these beings that she calls the sin eaters. And these are the beings that come into a lifetime and they don't seem to have done anything wrong to kind of warrant what it is that they undertake. So I saw that people who died on the Titanic, their souls then went to Nazi Germany and they experienced being in the concentration camps. And then when they died there, they made their way to New York to die in the Twin Towers. And these are people that they come in with so much light. that they're here to take on the greatest tragedies that we experience to be able to help transmute that darkness back to light. And, you know, there's aspects of our souls. Alicia and I are light bringers. We have done our own work. One of the things we found out the day that we met is that both of our fathers are from a very obscure country in South America called Guyana. And it's like, how does that happen? That's like 1 in a million. That's like 1% of 1%. And she's probably the person that I'm the most closely related to, not just spiritual DNA, but probably physical DNA, you know, alive here in New York, because there's so few Guyanese. But when you kind of experience the trauma that we did and do the healing that we did, see, Jeff's saying that one of his dear friends, rest his soul, was Guyanese. When you've experienced the kind of trauma that Alicia and I had, and you've gone in and you've healed that, you realize that there is nothing that you could never walk through. There is nothing that you could ever not heal. There is nothing that you could ever not face, because you have faced the darkest of the dark within your own life. You've brought the light forth from that. And all the rest of your life is for being of service to God, being of service to spirit. So I channel Jesus, I channel Mary Magdalene, I channel a whole host of Egyptians, Hathor, Isis, and Ra, and Sekhmet. Sekhmet, man, she's the troublemaker.
Oh, Jennifer has a question.
Jennifer, please, please, please come on.
Yes, come through, Queen.
Hello.
Hi,
She was in Melissa's mastermind too. We coming through strong.
a delightful.
Yeah. So, yeah, she posted today and I was like, that's interesting. I've always been interested, but I don't, and this might be a dumb question, but
No dumb
is
question.
is it one of those things where you get a student who starts learning and wants to tap into these sessions, and then spirit says, no, this is not for them?
I've never heard that. What I've had is someone is in here and they're learning, and ego goes, we need to exit stage left. It's actually ego that comes in and says, this is too much, this is not right, we should not be here. And it can fool you and it can tell you that it's a spirit that is like a spirit guide, but I've never seen a spirit guide that has ever prevented someone from opening up to the truth and opening up to the light. I've just never seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What
that-
what I
I'm just-
would what I would say to that too is maybe like where that person's at, their soul is like just ready to leap into everything. And then you as the space holder can be like, are you really ready to dive in though? Like, are you really ready to go in that deep? But like also at the same time, this is like our ultimate calling is to dive into this work, you know? So it's like there's space for everyone in this conversation in a way, but some people might have more difficulty getting into it based on their level of blockages and what they need to heal to get there. And that's what this process is about first healing yourself and then learning to access.
Right. So that's why I'm asking the question, because I have been interested for so long. And every time I go to either sign up for a class or figure it out or grab some books, there's resistance from me. And I'm not sure if the resistance is, and now hearing that it could be ego, right? Ego getting in the way and saying, no, you're not ready. You better stop. Or is it spirit like, you have to stop, Jen? You're not ready for this.
No, it's literally 100% ego. I can tell you that for having worked with thousands of people for 33 years, that every time that fear comes in and there's a voice that goes, this is really not a good idea for you, it is 100% ego. Because spirit is always like, let's go. Let's go. All we're doing is making our way back to remembering that we never left heaven. We're literally snug as a bug in a rug, having these crazy ass dreams of what our life is. And, you know, all we have to do is be willing to wake up, step back into ourselves as Christ beings. And it's literally, listen, God gave us the Holy Spirit. The shadow of the Holy Spirit is the ego. So when you recognize that, and you're willing to turn to the Holy Spirit, you're willing to turn to the light side, it nullifies the ego.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for saying that.
You're very welcome.
Mm.
It was one of the greatest gifts, and we just turned it into a little bit of a crud that we tried to sweep underneath the carpet. Holy Spirit's like, let me show you. Let me show you the truth. Let me show you the light. Let me show you the way. You know, and I remember when I was really young, my father said to me, we can all do everything that Jesus can. And I was like, bite your tongue. How dare you? And now I'm like, Jay, my father was right. And he goes, that's what I've been trying to tell everybody. You can all do it. And Jesus says this great thing. He's like, look, I've done everything through all my lifetimes and all my incarnations. I've done everything you guys have done. I have been the murderer. I have been the rapist. I have been all that darkness. That's why I can be with you and love you the way that you are and help you find forgiveness for your own souls.
Mm.
Dude, having a relationship with him is like nothing else I've ever known. And he's funny. Somebody said to me the other day, is he a cool dude? And I'm like, dude, what you have no idea is how funny he is. He's actually got a great sense of humor.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, and what I'll say to you too, Jen, just knowing you, like this is like that deeper layer of work that your soul is yearning for, because I already know how much space you hold for your clients. And I already know like how, you know, with your healings and things like that, that you like penetrate through these layers with them. This is about yourself desiring to dive even deeper than that, to go down to that core truth, you know, and there's always that little bit of resistance and that little bit of fear that comes up when we're diving into those deeper layers. Like even for myself, like I was like to Lynn, oh, I'm already doing readings. Like, why do I have to learn about the Akashic records? And then she was like, a whole world's about to open up. And that's where that fear comes from. Oh.
You're so welcome. You're so
Yay.
welcome. Someone saying thank you.
Yay. Oh, they're from Virginia Beach.
Oh, how cool. I live down there. Yeah. So look,
can-
if you're here, Hathor sent you, I promise you. How can you access the records as a musical composer?
I love
You
that.
learn to open the records and you ask for a guide that can help you with that. It's so, man, it's so cool when you learn to access your guides inside of the records. They want to help you with everything. Every desire that you have has come from God, and you are meant to have everything that you desire.
Yes.
All right, what else, my love?
Do you feel called to do a mini little like one question with someone?
Yeah, but it's got to be really quick because I'm.
Yes, that's what I felt too. One mini. Okay, raise your hand if you guys want to do one question with Lynn, and then Spirit will take it from there.
And know that we're public, we're broadcasting. I don't know what's going to come out. If you're willing to open your kimono to the world, you can pop a yes in there and we can bring you forth.
Yes, we got the hand raises.
Okay, pick somebody.
Okay, you want me to pick them? Okay. Let's do Chris.
Okay. Chris, can you come on screen?
Are you able to turn on your camera, Chris?
Let's see.
I am trying. Just give me 1 second.
Oh, nice. Yay. Awesome. And then right after this reading, we're also going to just walk through the details for the immersion that we're going to do and how we can get in touch. So
Chris, I need your full legal name. So this is the name that you would sign your taxes with?
Christopher Colucci.
For no middle name?
Martin.
Christopher Martin Colucci. Okay. Spell Colucci for me.
Colucci.
Let me see. Okay. So I want you to think of a question that you want to know the answer to. And it's about you. It's about something that you love, something that you fear, something that you hate, something you're obsessed with. You can't ask, why is my mother this way? Why is my father that way? Why is my this person that way? It has to be a self-interested question, and why questions are usually really juicy. Like, why do I love France, and why am I afraid of Spain? And, why do I love snakes and hate spiders? Like something like that. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and open your records. And like I mentioned before, it's not going to be me, me and my dazzling personality. It's going to be one of your master's teachers or loved ones going to come through. Okay.
Okay.
So the prayer that I say, part of it is said aloud and part of it is said silently. And I will say the records are now open, and then you can ask a question. Okay. Here we go. I was not expecting this, so just bear with me. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage. Know the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. O Holy Spirit of God, help me to know Chris in the light of the Akashic records, to see Chris through the eyes of the Lords of the records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of Chris have for him. The records are now open. Greetings, beloved one. We thank you for coming forth. We thank you for heeding and hearing our call for you to come and have this moment of opportunity with us, beloved child. Beloved one, what is the query, the question that you have for us here and now?
Why am I here and what am I meant to do in this life?
Beloved, there is much that you have experienced. You have come forth to bring, there is a way that you have that brings joy and love to people who come into your presence. There is a way that you bring aspects of beauty and grace through your artistry to people. You are meant to express this. You are meant to dance. You are meant to play. You are meant to perform. You are meant to bring forth what brings joy to others as you express joy yourself. You have allowed yourself to be pigeonholed into a way in which you have experienced life. It does not bring you joy. Beloved one, when you follow the breadcrumbs of your life as has been spoken, and you allow yourself to find your happiness and your joy, do you know the joy that you feel when you see people dancing?
Mm-hmm.
You know the joy that you experience when you hear music that you love?
Yes.
You know how that lifts your spirit like nothing else, beloved.
Mm-hmm.
You are meant to bring forth the part of you that has been trained in that, that has artistry and mastery in that. And you are meant to express yourself in that way in the world. Now, does that sound like anything you could possibly have imagined we would have said to you?
No.
You're welcome. Find your way to your highest expression of joy. Pay attention to the very things that make you happy, that make your heart light, that make you smile, and find a way to express that in the world. You will live your happiest existence ever. And you will have many who will follow you, for they will look at a man who has lived a life that has been dour, that has been bittered, that has been hardened. And you will say, I will not live this way any longer. I will find my joy. I will find my happiness, and I will shout it from the highest rooftops. We love you, beloved one. And indeed, we will speak with you. Again, we thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
With you always. Speaks with us more often. This transmission is complete. Greetings and salutations, beloved ones.
Wow.
I would like to thank the masters, teachers, and loved ones for their love and compassion. I would like to thank the lords of the Akashic Records for their point of view. I would like to thank the Holy Spirit of Light for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed, amen. The records are now closed, amen. The records are now closed, amen. Ooh.
Wow. One thing that's so potent about receiving messages in that way, especially in a class like this, is that there's probably several other people who listened to that message that also felt something from that. So if you were present for that and also felt that that message was partially for you, just like say yes in the chat or something.
Yeah. Whenever I channel, I go through this process energetically where I yawn. Anyway, okay, we have a couple raised hands. Andrea, did you have a question? Or was that from the volunteering earlier?
That was for volunteering.
Okay. All right, well, we're going to do another one of these classes on
Yay.
on Friday. Friday
On the 21st.
21st. Friday the 21st at 2 p.m. Alicia and I will be joining. A couple Fridays a month and a couple Wednesdays a month. Alicia and I, we'll get together and we'll do Akashic record readings. We'll help people to open up their ESP senses, their clairs that we talked about earlier, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, clairvoyance. Sometimes I'll even do a past life healing with people. So keep an eye on our page and you'll definitely see more of us. Thank you all so much for being here.
Let me walk everyone through the information about the immersion that we're doing. So basically, for the full version of this class, it's called the Akashic Records Immersion. It's going to be beginning on April 26th. And it's essentially a 4-class series, but there's going to be 3 series of this class depending on what your intention is and what you want to learn. So there's 3 different levels. So the first one is student, learning how to become a student of the records and how to open them. So through this class, you'll actually learn how to even read your own records as well, because someone asked that question before too. The healer is learning how to become an Akashic Records healer. So after this class, you'll then be able to do readings and healings for other people through the Akashic Records. And the last one is an Akashic Records teacher. So you're going to be able to learn how to teach others how to access their Akashic Records. So there's 3 different tiers based on what you want. So for example, like the first one, student, that's going to be for the first 4 weeks. Then the healer is going to be for 8 weeks because it's going to include the student and then also the healer container. Then the teacher is going to be 4 additional weeks. So that's going to be the 12 full weeks. And you're going to be diving into all of those different aspects. And you're going to be able to walk out of this with that certification in order to teach other people how to access the records. And then for the healer, you're going to get the healing certification where essentially you're going to be trained in how to do these readings and healings for other people. So an Akashic record healing typically is priced from, I would say the lowest price point I've seen is about $111. And right now my Akashic record readings are $222. And how much do you charge now, Lynn, for your Akashic record readings?
$1,222 per hour,
Yes.
$688 for half an hour. And then if someone wants a little 15-minute reading, it's $333.
Yes. So as you can see, there's like different tiers based on the level of how much you've trained in the records, how many people you've given readings to. When I first started giving readings in the Akashic records, I started at 150, and then I've worked my way up to 222. And then if they want to do like a series of readings, then I do it for 444. So there's different ways that you can, you know, also if you have your own psychic audience too, that you do healings and readings for, this can also help you to do a deeper, higher end offerings for one-on-one sessions with people as well.
I have students that work on donation. I have students that offer, you know, 111, 222, 333, 444. But when I do a reading, it usually turns out to be a healing. So
Yes.
there you go.
So, so the pricing for this, so the student one, so that's the first 4 weeks of the program, that's going to be $888. And this is just basically learning how to access the Akashic records. And we're going to be working on psychically and intuitively developing your clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairsentience to help you access the records. So this whole process, yeah, and clairaudience, all the clairs. We're going to be diving into like different ways to psychically develop yourself. So the next tier, the healer, this is basically going to teach you the tools and techniques to help you facilitate healings within the records and give other people deeper levels of healings and readings through the record. So we're actually going to be also learning the method called psychic surgery, which is a somatic way of energetically healing different blockages within the body. So this will teach you this tool and technique where that's kind of, even learning that technique can be a standalone thing. Like I've done so many psychic surgery sessions with people, and this is when they feel like an energetic blockage in the body, and you actually go in, identify the blockage, identify where it stemmed from, and release that energy. And this helps you to also heal past life, future, and parallel lives within the records.
And you also learn a technique that I call incident handling, which is about how to handle trauma, and an entity handling technique to be able to remove psychic attachments. And that's part of the whole process of learning how to heal. And then we take you into learning how to actually teach people to do this as well.
Yes. So when you learn how to teach people, where I'll actually give you full access to the PowerPoints and stuff like that, and we kind of will walk you through what are the best methods of how to actually teach people who also want to learn how to navigate the quantum Akashic record realm, and how to also, you know, walk people into their healing and things like that. So that's the flow. Yay.
Thank you all so much for being here.
Yes.
It is my delight. It is my great joy. I love doing this work. It is my soul's purpose. And Alicia, I love a partnership, and I love our friendship and everything that we do. So thank you all so much for being here. You can find us all over social media. I have a YouTube channel that has some 1,600 videos, a lot of channeling work. We have free Akashic masterclasses that happen every month. We have this incredible immersion, lots of other opportunities to work with us. And of course, sessions are available. So
Yes.
find us. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time, your energy, and your attention. It has been my absolute delight. And to everybody who's watching us on Facebook, thank you so much for being here as well. Alicia, I think you froze. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Azul. Thank you all so much for being here. Much love, everybody, and we'll see you again soon.